Hey, what's going on, guys? It is your good friend Matt. We are back again here today at the only place that we always can be. And as you already know, that is Matt's Wrestling Collectibles right here on YouTube. Today, guys, we're back again with another episode of New Figure Pickups. It is episode 118. And as always, if you've been with me for 117 previous episodes, well, I appreciate you oh so much. And if this is your first time here today, episode 118, well, I appreciate you oh so much as well. We'll get into all those details later on all the stuff with the channel and how to follow along as always. But we are going to jump right into this episode today because we do have quite a few things here, a few more than normal. And I definitely want to make sure that we get through all of this. So let's jump right into this today. Let's talk about it. And as I always say on New Figure Pickups, it may be other things. You may see some random weird things here. And I think we're going to start it off with maybe the most random thing that has ever been in a New Figure Pickups or a New Pickups, however you want to look at it, right? It doesn't always have to be figures. And with this, it is not figures by far. It is DVDs, and it is none other than the Jersey Shore, right? And you guys are probably going to laugh, right? You're going to say, what is going on here? Well, let's talk about this really quick. So we got Jersey Shore here. It is, of course, the uncensored, and it's the complete edition because we've got season 1, we've got season 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, the final season. So you guys may be asking yourself, what is going on here? What are we doing? Why do we have these here? Well, growing up, Jersey Shore was something that I was very big and into at one point, just, following along the episodes. And it was just a big thing for my kind of my end of my high school years. So a lot of people were big into this. There was a lot of followers. There was a lot of talk about it, in school the following day. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that, even with wrestling, because I remember going way, way back. That was always the talk of the school bus ride, maybe lunch, recess, the school bus ride home. You talk about it on Monday, what happened over the weekend, wrestling, pay-per-views, and stuff like that. Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, which at the time I believe was on Thursdays, and it's just so crazy. But, again, that's what it was. It was the talk of the town for quite some time. And of course, living in Rhode Island, we had our very own DJ Paulie D on there from Rhode Island. So I think that's also what drove the, drove the viewership and a little bit more, even that much higher. Of course, I'm sure every place that these others are from, I know some of them were from Jersey, some were from New York, so I'm sure you get a lot of people from those areas that are following along. But I won't spend too much time on it, but it is here. It's Jersey Shore Uncensored. It is the complete series all the way through series or season 6, but very, something different, very different in the collection here, but it's something that I've been wanting to get, and I love physical media. It is the way to truly have an endless library, as I have seen some crazy things lately, and I don't know if you guys follow along or if anybody on here is big into, digital media, whether that be movies, video games, and whatever, etc. You know what I mean? Whether that's ebooks, magazines. I have recently seen that there is some services, companies that are now taking back things that were already purchased and already paid for. And there are some things that are going away. And I always say it, when you have something on a console, like right now, I have, WWE 2K26 physical version. I'll always buy a physical version until the option is not there, if it's not available. But until it's not, I will continue to do that, because I've seen people who have even gone through issues with games like that. Hey, I'm buying this $80, $100 game, and it could truly not be yours. So, it's all up to these companies and what they do, what they decide. So make sure you guys are always trying to get that physical media, because I'm telling you, it's definitely worth it. You always have it, unless, disaster strikes. And unfortunately that can happen, but it's never not available to you. And granted, it's nice to have that digital stuff because, I can play it here, I can play it here, I can play it anywhere, and I don't have to have all these other things with me, which is great. But if you're fortunate enough to be able to do so, I would say get the physical media and maybe pay that little bit of extra to have a duplicate of the digital media if you like something that much, and then you can watch it elsewhere, have it elsewhere. But I would always stay on top of the physical media. It is the way to go, at least in my opinion anyway. So as we move on here, let's get into some title belts this week. We're going to the UFC, we're going to the WEC, we're going to Pride, and we'll start off with UFC. This is Jakks specific, of course, if anybody doesn't know, but we got some nice UFC titles here, and you can also find these on my MERCARI, which is in the description to this video and all of my videos. But these UFC belts, and get a good look there, UFC world title. I love these because these Jakks ones are actually really, really nice. I think Jakks had a lot of great titles. Mattel has done some better than Jakks, no doubt, but Jakks definitely did have some that were by far surpassing what Mattel has done, what AEW Jazzwares has done. But again, all in preference. So some people may hate these, but these are great in my opinion. I think they're fantastic as far as the detail and that depth, and we get a little bit more than we've gotten with some other belts. But we also did get these UFC titles made by Jazzwares. They were available to us in that UFC Ultimate line. We got them in the first series, which was actually Series 0, and then we got the Series 1 that followed. And the Series 0 limited edition ones, those were very the whole scaling of it was off. The belts were very just cheap looking. When we got the Series 2, which was actually Series 1, that's when the belts got a little bit better. The quality of the figures got better. The sizing, the scaling got better. And those were actually nice. The UFC world titles that they did like this are very nice belts, but I do love these Jakks ones, and this one here, the UFC world heavyweight, or any division really you could make it for, because of course they were all just the same styling of belt. So and of course, as they are now today, just a newer version to this, which is what I would call, I guess, the V3 version, if we will, I guess, because I mean, of course, you can go way back to when the belts were different, but this was around for quite some time, and this was what I'd call almost the version 2, because of all those other versions and stuff that they were using prior. But maybe this would be the version 2 to most people, and the newest version that we have, you know, the version 3. So but cool title belts, like I said, that's UFC there. We also have the WEC, and of course, WEC, if we can get this to, there we go, nice right there. The WEC, of course, you know, again, like a more of a, I don't want to say like indie wrestling, but more of a independent brand, and it was, you know, lesser than the UFC as far as like notoriety. But again, WEC, a very great group, and amazing list of talent that came from them that eventually came into the UFC. And this is, of course, what their championships would look like. So very cool. I like that a lot, that we are able to get something like that as well. But this one coming up, this is the big one. This is the one that I really am just amped to add this to the collection. I don't know who it's going to go with at some point. Maybe we'll have a display where this can fit in. But this right here is the Pride FC, Pride Fighting Championship World Title. And this is just so cool. Again, made by Jakks, just like the other ones. I'm trying to give you guys a better look there, if you can kind of see. It's a little tough just because of the silver. But if you guys can get a good look there. I mean, I love this. I love this title. It's so cool. And these are, you know, belts that you're not going to just see. They're not just anywhere. If you're not buying Jakks UFC figures, you weren't getting these. And so I was fortunate enough to come across a distributor that was able to, you know, not only just do this for me, but a few other things. So again, those are up on the MERCARI. I have a very limited supply of them right now. Hopefully we'll be getting more, and we'll see how that goes, but we'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks and go from there. So, but if you guys do want them, they are up on the MERCARI store page, so definitely get over there and check it out. And if you don't already, make sure you follow me on MERCARI as well. And like I said, that is in the description of this video and all my videos. You can check it out. Up next, we go into a brand that is not often here on the channel, but a company that I do love. I actually hold it very dear to me because they were originally based out of Rhode Island. They were in Cranston, Rhode Island for a very long time. They had their superstore there. They had like a showroom there. They had all their products and stuff there. Very, very cool. And I miss them so much. And the Wrestling Superstore or Figures Toy Company, whatever, you know, they were being called at that time, but this is what they are, is Figures Toy Company, FTC, and they make the legends of professional wrestling. And up first here, we got Mr. Hughes. And these are figures where a lot of the figures that they do are figures you're not going to see necessarily. And if they do have a figure that has been released, like an example, I could say the Sandman was a figure that FTC did. I think they did one or two of them. They did theirs after Jax was all done with WWE. We didn't get any more Sandmans from obviously WWE or Jax all the way up until as of late in the Elite line. So that is why with this series, this company, whatever, you know, that they produce, it is always some very cool, unique figures. They are similar to the Jack specific style as far as bodies and the molds and stuff like that. I'm not 100% sure if they're exactly identical. Obviously, somebody might be able to find a difference among them as they, you know, comb them over very fine. You know, you'd have to really look at these in detail to see what may or may not be the same. But they do very much mirror Jack's figures, of course, and they're very cool. You know, like I've seen a lot of people talk about the quality of them and say that, you know, they're not good, they're terrible, they're this, that. I mean, they're great figures if you are displaying them like this. They're great figures if you'd like to display them just, you know, loose and on a shelf. Do I think that they're good figures to, you know, really go crazy with, and maybe somebody who might still, you know, be creating matches and making content that way? Maybe not. You know, maybe if it's stop motion, something that's a little bit more easy on the figure, sure, I could see that being a good one there. But it's, I don't know, it might not be the best for somebody who is smashing them together like there are a couple of LJNs back in the 80s. But this is a very cool line, and Mr. Hughes here, part of a collection that I am glad to add to because they've made so many just random and cool figures. So again, excited to have this and excited to show the rest of the ones that we do have here today. As you know, with one, there comes many more because I don't buy these singly because they are a bit expensive if you do buy them individually, and that's the other thing. They're not able to be bought in cases much anymore. A lot of them have already been sold out. A lot of them are gone. You're paying third market price, and even at the best deal, you're probably looking at around bare minimum $35 to $40 to ship one of these to your door. So, and that's, you know, again, if you find them on the better side of things. Up next, one that many people will know. This name is definitely known to a lot, and especially if you were a fan through the late 90s into the Attitude Era and all that great stuff. Well, who could it be? It is none other than Savio Vega. And I am so excited to add this one to the collection. Again, you know, a figure that I don't think we're going to see anytime soon. Not from, you know, maybe Mattel, if anybody. I think that would be the one that it would go through, right? Unless we find them at a third party or maybe something that's a bit more of a one-off deal, like maybe like Zombie Sailor or something like that. But this is a very cool figure. Again, I mean, it's as you can see, if you look at the arms here, very Jax-like, and I don't mean jacked in the arms, I mean very Jax-specific like. But that is, and it's so funny because when I say Jax Pacific, it sounds like I'm saying Jax specific, but it is Pacific. Jax Pacific. But either way here, very cool with the cloth goods. I mean, the shirt, the jeans, the belt with that belt buckle. Again, as much as people would want to talk about the quality of these, and I've seen people run these figures through the dirt online, and I'd actually love to know how many of these people that are saying this have physically bought one of these and had it to actually compare anything to. But very cool that they come with this, you know, detailed clothing and soft goods. Down in the bottom here, if you can see, there is his gold chain that's down there, and sometimes they'll be behind the figures, like they'll put accessories with them behind them, or it'll just be loose in the package, like in something like this, like how it's in a plastic bag down there. But it is very cool, and these you can always tell if they're new or if they've been opened. This seal that's on the top is a zip tie. It's got the Figures Toy Company logo on it. I've seen some people, you know, say that if you want, you can open them and you can make it so that way you can reclose them again. And I'm sure, you know, I mean, with anybody trying to do something over time, you learn. But I don't know. It seems like all the ones that I've ever received, I've never questioned if they were opened and resealed, especially if, you know, you're talking about opening that seal, then you'd have to get these zip ties or these twist ties off. It would just be a lot to put everything back the same way. So, but they've all come in great condition to me, and I love them. Like I said, I think these are great figures, and especially somebody like myself, the Jakks days was so big. I mean, it was such a huge deal to me to be living in that era of just non-stop wrestling figures. And so to see these in these later years, and to just think, like, what would it have been like if Jakks just stayed doing wrestling figures forever? Like, if we were still getting Jakks figures, where would we be in this modern era? What would we be getting? Would it be different? Would it be the same? Who knows, right? I guess a lot of questions to answer. But up next, again, Legends of Professional Wrestling, still in the FTC line. We got Louis Spicolli. And of course, again, another very one-off type of figure. You're probably not going to see this anywhere else. A very cool figure. Let's get a little bit closer for you there. Get a nice look on that head sculpt. And some of these sculpts, people have said even too, like the head sculpts, oh, they're too big. They're too cartoony. They don't fit right. And while I look at this, it might not fit right on there. Maybe it is a little off. I'd have to get a better look at it. But again, you get these nice buttons on this soft goods, you know, like flannel with the sleeves cut off. It's obviously Velcroed underneath, but very nice detail down to these shorts and the boots and the green socks that are, I mean, this is, if you go and look up a picture of him and you see this, you're going to say, wow, that is spot on. Granted, little things that I think could have been better. Could we have gotten a hat that could have maybe went on him? Sure, but it wouldn't allow that mold to look the way it does with the hair coming out, and they're not going to give you multiple heads or anything like that with these. These are, you know, obviously just as they are. I don't think there's any accessories with him, and that's the case with some of them. You won't get accessories, but at the same time, you're getting all these cloth goods, you're getting soft goods. It's great. There is a lot of good stuff with these, and maybe there will be a day where these get opened up and we can really do a review on some of them and see how all of that quality holds up, and, you know, just see how it works. You know, is it able to fit in with the rest? They do scale height-wise, not so bad with the Elites, with the Jazzwares, with the Ultimates. They're not terrible. It's more so the limbs on them, you know, your legs, your boots, your arms that are all bigger than other guys. And I guess that's where maybe some people would not feel that they could fit into their, you know, their Mattel or their AEW Jazzwares line. So up next, we've got a couple more, and here we go. We've got a man that many people know the name, and of course, it would probably be because you know about the Road Dogg, but here we go, Brad Armstrong. And Brad Armstrong, of course, a fantastic, legend in the sport of professional wrestling. Fantastic in the ring. So many people speak so highly of him, and you know, and how could you not, right? He's always seemed to be a good contributor and a good you know, performer in the ring. Very safe, as far as I know. I've heard a lot of just good things about him throughout different interviews and stuff like that. So Brad Armstrong, I don't think we're going to see a figure of him anywhere else. I mean, granted, again, you never, ever really know with Mattel. And I could say that about Jazzwares. I mean, there is a possibility that Jazzwares could pick up a license for somebody. Again, it's is it unlikely? Possibly. You just never know what you're going to see. Or maybe, like I said, an independent toy line, like a third-party line, almost, as if I like to say that way, is picking these figures up. You know, it's so cool to see what we have in front of us as far as the never-ending just list of toy makers now. You know, going back to when I was a kid, it was like you had Jakks, you had WWE, you had the Mattel figures, you had the Marvel figures that were doing TNA, and then we did have the UFC figures, but it just kind of all didn't really, I don't know, it didn't really work the same back then. It wasn't like it is today where everything is just so known through the internet and through social media. So, again, who knows where things would be in the modern era today if all of that stuff had stayed the way it was and continued to be, made through and through. But Brad Armstrong here, looking great. American flag jacket, very nice. And if you guys can even see here, he's got a legit zipper on the front there. I mean, again, this is where you kind of get some great stuff with these figures. It's and again, it's not the best quality ever. It's not top tier, but it is really cool to see something like that on a wrestling figure. And with that, that zipper, just little things like that, I think that kind of adds a little bit more of the okay, I'm getting something for this value here. I'm actually, enjoying the product and being able to not feel like I'm just getting a wrestling figure. And of course, I think that's kind of the way with just everything today. You get a little bit extra with all of them. And even when we go back to the Jakks days, there was a lot of figures back then that always had accessories or weapons, belts. So, you're just getting something extra, it feels, and it's nice. So I like that. I don't know about you guys. Sound off in the comments below. You let me know. But we do have one more coming out of the Legends of Professional Wrestling, one more for FTC, and another name that is very, very well known in professional wrestling, and that is Tom Pritchard. And Tom Pritchard here obviously is, looking great with this soft goods on. The jacket, phenomenal. And I really, really did want to get him to the collection because when I got the Midnight Express and we were finally able to complete that and got that box set from FTC, I was like, okay, this is cool because now we've got not only the Midnight Express together, but I really did want that Jim Cornette figure. And, of course, now having, Bobby Eaton, Stan Lane, Dennis Condrey, and having all of them together and now getting guys like Tom Pritchard, Brad Armstrong. I mean, it is really completing a group of guys that I feel all just were in that same era, same, territory days and a lot of stuff like that. I really feel like we're getting that old school vibe with it. And I think that's why FTC did what they did. I think they were very smart when they made these decisions to bring these guys under contract and do this because, again, you are getting a lot of figures through them that are not released anywhere else. And again, some did over time, but a lot probably won't ever. And it's so nice to be able to get them at least some way to have them in your collection. And again, like I said, guys, you can head over and see what they have available. A lot of it has been, going out of stock. It's not going to be restocked as far as I understand, but it is just some great stuff. And they are, again, they're phenomenal when it comes to having just some very, very unique and maybe even deep cut figures when we see what we get here. But again, this goes back to what I was just talking about. You get into this head sculpt here. It's a little pasty. It's a little kind of chalky. The quality's not great. I mean, you look at the hair. The hair is kind of, it looks kind of like Play-Doh-y, mushy. It's not really as defined as it could be. And of course, I mean, the camera does kind of take away from it a little bit. But as you look at it, it's just, you can tell. It's not the greatest ever, but again, it is cool to be able to add these to a collection, especially when most of them probably won't see a figure anywhere else. Up next, we jump over to the WWE and Mattel line. We're going to start off with some Ultimate Editions, and the first of two, it's going to be Randy Orton. And this Randy Orton was one that's been sold out, restocked, back order, pre-order, all the orders, and finally we do have it here, and I am excited to add this because I missed out on the first Orton, and I kind of had a feeling that it was going to be a bad pass up. I really didn't want to pass it up, but when he had that original Ultimate that came out with the tag titles, I believe, or a tag title, I think it was, I believe so. He had like the mustache face sculpts, and that's kind of that era. If you guys know what I'm talking about, I'm sure you already do, but that Orton, I passed on it many a times. He made his return at one point. I think it was like Survivor Series or whatever it was a few years back. And I went right back to the store that I was at only a day or two prior at most. And when I tell you the day or two prior, they must have had at least 15 of those Randy Ortons on the shelf. I went back 2 or 3 days later. They were all gone. I checked the clearance section. I checked a bunch of spots. They were gone. And I was like, this is just crazy because, it's not like Orton's never been around. He returned, and I get it. The hype is back, but just very, very, very weird all the way around how they did that, So either way, just when you see something like, 15 Ortons disappear in the course of 2 days, it's weird. Like, I don't know. Is it somebody just buying them all to sell them? Is it somebody who's actually buying them because they want them? I mean, who knows? But this Orton here, now the second Ultimate Edition Orton that I have, is we also did get his like throwback Orton with the Intercontinental title, the Evolution t-shirt. That is a great Orton as well. But now my second Ultimate Randy Orton in the collection. And I gotta say, the head scan on the figure I really like. The other two, one is like kinda for me, and the other one is just absolutely terrible all the way to the right. I just think that looks, I don't know. That's just not it for me. But either way, we do have Randy Orton here, Ultimate Edition, finally secure, and hopefully, unless something drastic comes out with a new Randy that would be, just absolutely needed, I don't think we need any more Ultimate Randys at the time. But again, I guess we'll see what happens in the future. There are definitely Randy Ortons, though, as far as elites are concerned, that I definitely need in the collection. So hopefully we will get those soon. But up next, the last of 2 Ultimate Editions, and one that, again, head sculpts a little and that is none other than one Miss Chelsea Green. And Chelsea Green has just been on the top of everybody's list, it seems, lately. And shout out to, shipping and handling, as we have a bad corner down there. I just actually noticed that because I didn't even see that till just now. So that is not good. But hey, it is what it is. No big deal. At the end of the day here, we do have a really cool Chelsea Green figure. I think they did a phenomenal job on this. The attire is great. The add-ons are great as far as the the dress there, that bottom piece, the hat. I think that's cool. The head scan that's on the figure, it's okay. The other two that it comes with, again, one is like I'm kind of half and half with, and the other one is just terrible. I don't know what is going on here, and I know Chelsea has had a very difficult time getting proper head scans on her figures. I mean, we can go all the way back to her first time in the line, Basic. That one was kind of but it did look like her in a way, but this, it's like, yeah, I know who it is, but those other 2 sculpts, I mean, I don't know. I'm going to really have to take these out, put each of them on to the figure, see how they actually look, and if there is some ones that are just beyond what I think it would look like if you were looking at her, and it just doesn't commute that way. It doesn't go hand in hand. It might have to go up on the MERCARI. I'm not sure, but we'll see. We'll have to do that with this and the Orton, but oh boy, we'll see. I don't know. And of course, guys, I always tell you, I save the best for last, what I think is the personal best of the video. And this one, I don't know if there's going to be much debate today. I think this really is going to be everybody's pick for the best figure in this video. It's definitely the rarest. That's for sure. No doubt about that. And I'm going all the way back to Elite Series 71. Can you guess? Could you guess right now who I'm about to show? Elite Series 71. Who's in this set? Let's take a look. Well, now that I look at this set, I mean, yeah, I guess there is a couple of figures in here that could be considered, but there's 3 that are, there's 3 that could be considered. So I guess there could be a little bit of a play game here. There could be a little bit of a guessing game, if you will, but Elite Series 71, and it is the biggest one in 71. It is none other than The Big Show. The Big Show Elite 71. This one right here. Yeah, this is a rare one, guys. This one is one that we are not seeing anytime soon unless Big Show signs a Legends contract or does something different with his contract or negotiations. I would love to see more wrestlers have the Billy Gunn treatment. Hey, we don't really need you here in WWE because it just doesn't make sense. You can go have matches in AEW. We'll keep you under a Legends contract, and we'll produce our own figures here. And just like anything, you don't cross this path, and we won't cross that path because what you do there is there, and what was here was here. Very, very easy, very simple. But It is what it is. The Big Show is one that I needed to add to the collection, though. I know this is going to sound absolutely insane, but over 1,100 figures in this collection, and I did not have a Big Show because we haven't had a Big Show in so long, and all the ones that are available as far as elites, I think Big Show had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. I think the Big Show had 6 elites, 7, 6, 7. That's what the kids say. 7 elites if you include his WCW Giant version of himself, the Big Show. So 6 or 7 elites for the Big Show, and of course we haven't had any in a very, very long time. So that is unfortunately why these are so expensive and so rare at the moment, at least. So I am excited though to add this one to the collection. The Big Show definitely needed a spot in my collection, and this figure itself is the one that I said if I'm going to get one, I'm going after this one first. I think next is going to be the WCW Giant, and then from there I'm going to have to make a decision on what Big Show I want that is in his elite style. I don't think we'll go with the tag team unification tag team one there, which was like Elite Series 10 or something like that, 10, 9, 8, somewhere in there, somewhere in that series. Probably wouldn't do that. And again, you know, there's a few other options out there to find. So who knows? But we got to get the Big Show in a few different versions into the collection. So whether that means that we got to do it the expensive way or, you know, sit around and play the long game and hope for the best on a few of them, I guess we will see. But either way, guys, Big Show, Elite Series 71, he's wrapping up this video. And of course, this one was a good one. We went a little bit longer than I expected here. A little bit of chatter, of course, as we always do. But I always have a great time sitting here talking to you guys. And of course, I love being able to actually respond to you guys. So what better way to do that than to leave me a comment on this video? Tell me what figure here today was your favorite. What figure was your least favorite? What do you think of the FTC toy line? What do you think of this Big Show? How rare is he really? And what do you think of those Jersey Shore DVDs? Well, you tell me down in the comments below. And of course, until the next one, guys, if you have already been here, you know the deal. You got to get over to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon, and you will be able to see and hear from me each and every single day. And everything else you need is in the description of this video. So for me, for the Big Show, for all the figures you saw here today, until the next time, until the next video, stay safe, stay tuned, and I will see you guys all there.